In the American South, it was the slave driver, the head Negro, who served this role, setting the pace for the work at hand, and elevated with the task of watching over the others and disciplining them when called to do so. The dominant caste often forced its captives to exact punishment on one another or to dispose of the victims as their tormentors watched. In Nazi Germany, the SS guards were not the ones who put the prisoners into the ovens. The captives were forced into that grim detail. It was not the SS who collected the bodies of the people who had died the night before. That was left to the captives. In the American South, black men were made to whip their fellow slaves, or to hold down the legs and arms of the man, woman, or child being flogged. Later, when lynchings were the primary means of terror, it was the people who had done the lynching who told the family of the victim or the black undertaker when they would be permitted to take down what was left of the body from the lynching tree. One day in the mid-18th century, an elder of the Presbyterian Church was passing through a piece of timbered land in a slaving province of the American South when he heard what he called a sound as of murder. He rode in that direction and discovered a naked black man hung to the limb of a tree by his hands, his feet chained together, and a pine rail laid with one end on the chain between his legs and the other upon the ground to steady him. The overseer had administered 400 lashes on the man's body. The miserably lacerated slave was then taken down and put to the care of a physician, the Presbyterian elder said. The elder asked the overseer, one of the men who had inflicted this upon another human being, the offense for which all this was done. He was told that the enslaved man had made a comment that was seen as beyond his station. It began when the owner said that the rows of corn the enslaved man had planted were uneven. The enslaved man offered his opinion. Massa, much corn grow on a crooked row as a straight one. The enslaved man replied. For that, he was flogged to the brink of death. This was it. This was enough, the Presbyterian elder said. The overseer boasted of his skill in managing the master's property. The enslaved man was submitted to him and treated as above. A century later, slavery was over, but the rules and the consequences for breaking them were little changed. A young white anthropologist from Yale University, John Dollard, went south to the Mississippi Delta in 1935 for his research into the Jim Crow caste system. He noticed how subservient the black people were, stepping aside for him, taking their hats off, and calling him sir, even if they were decades older. One day he was out riding with some other white men, Southern white men, who were checking out some black sharecroppers. The black people were reluctant to come out of their cabins when the car with the white men pulled up. The driver had some fun with it, told the sharecroppers he was not going to hang them. Later, Dollard mentioned to the man that the Negroes seemed to be very polite around here. The man let out a laugh. They have to be.